here with Uproar.car, your trusted advisor with all things car related, helping you save time and money and avoiding the pitfalls of the auto industry. Please share and like this video and subscribe to our channel. You can visit our socials by visiting the links here, and you can visit our website by clicking the link on the bottom right corner. We are going to start this video off with the girl's guide, how to find the right mechanic. And if you have any comments or questions, drop them in the comments. All right, so let's get started. Number one, girl's guide, how to shop for a mechanic is research, research, research. You always want to research the type of mechanic you need, and that goes into number two. This bleeds into step number two, is asking friends, family, and neighbors for referrals, because you can Google and you can look up Yelp and you can look up all these things, but typically the most honest and the most loyal mechanics are referred word of mouth, because people are really likely to refer someone they've been going to for years, that they super trust, that they think highly of. And it's better to get that introduction through an existing client, because then the mechanic is going to honor their relationship and their honesty and their communication with the person and give you a similar experience. Also, it tells you what to expect. So if I didn't know my mechanic before I went to him, but I was referred to him by a neighbor, I could say, hey, how long does he typically keep the car for? How much does he typically charge you? Is he an honest guy? Have you been seeing him a long time? These are all things. It's almost like, you know, getting the inside scoop of somebody you used to date. So referrals are always the best. If you don't have anybody that can refer you, you can go to the internet. You can use Yelp reviews, you can use Angie's List, you can also check the Better Business Bureau to make sure that there's no complaints filed against these shops or these mechanics. Going back to step number one, I would say that when you're doing a research for the best mechanic, I would actually look outside your neighborhood if you're not happy with the immediate mechanics and auto body shops in your neighborhood, because it's definitely the right mechanic over convenience. Because with the right mechanic, it doesn't matter if they're far, you're not going to see them as much if you're going to the wrong body shop. For example, I have a Volkswagen. I took my car to Volkswagen. They kept it for 2 weekends or a weekend and a half, and when I got it back, I had to bring it back to the shop right away, and I paid 3 times what I pay now. So for example, I have an independent mechanic now who's really loyal, really trustworthy, and really good and really honest, and doesn't charge out the arse. We're not going to curse here. For what he charges me $300. Volkswagen would charge me $3,000. Volkswagen would keep the car for maybe a week and a half, but then I would have to bring the car back right away. My mechanic might keep the car for 2 weeks, but I won't have to bring the car back for at least a couple months. So that's why it's kind of give and take. And obviously the price, let alone, is, you know, why I may be willing to wait 3 weeks or 2 weeks versus getting the car back right away. I mean, it doesn't help to get the car back right away if the problem is not gone. So yeah, when you're shopping for the right mechanic, do research, do look at the reviews, talk to friends and family, because the proof is in the pudding. If they don't get to the root of the problem, they're not that great of a mechanic. They're like a doctor, right? They're just appeasing your symptoms. We don't want to do the same thing with the car. We don't just want to appease its symptoms until it just combusts. We need to get to the root of the problem and really maintain it, because that's the only way you're going to have a really healthy, long-lasting engine. Step 3, check for certifications. So if you need a specific mechanic with specific certifications, call them ahead of time, make sure they have them, drive down to the shop, see if they're posted there on the wall. For example, I needed a transmission guy. It wouldn't have been cost effective for me to just go to an auto body shop that's going to outsource taking it to a transmission guy. That's why I cut out the middleman, go right to the specific person with that certification you need. 4, finding the right specialist. We always need the right specialist, right? Like, think about in life, you have a dental issue, you go to a dentist. Point is, if you have a Japanese car, don't go to an American body shop. If you have an American car, don't go to a Japanese body shop. If you have a European car, go to a European body shop. If you have a Japanese car, go to a Japanese body shop. There's specialty body shops for a reason, and they might be like, oh no, I don't want to go to a European shop because I have a European car, it's going to cost me more money. No, it won't. Actually, if you go to a mechanic that doesn't have the resources or doesn't have the knowledge it's going to cost you more time and money in the long haul. So go to the person with the right certifications, with the right specialities, that knows all the expertise in and outs of your specific make and model of car. It will save you time and money, and it will save everybody a lot of headaches because you won't have to over explain anything. And hopefully this mechanic can educate you on things and become a long-term relationship and mechanic in your life. Be informed. So what that means is be informed on what it is that you need, know the specific language, the vocabulary that you need to really be present in that conversation with your mechanic. Because if you want to have this long-term building knowledge of mechanics and transmissions and your car and everything that goes into being a good car owner, it's best to be already well read on what you may think the problem is. So read up on it, look on car forums, and know everything that you've troubleshooted yourself before you get there, so that when you walk into the mechanic's shop, you have all that information. It's well thought out, it's well organized, and you can say, hey, you know, I've been troubleshooting it in third gear, or I bought these used parts specific for this valve, so that you know exactly what the specialties of the area they're going to be looking into, because they appreciate that. A mechanic who has a vast experience, a vast knowledge, is going to be able to pick up what you're saying, a few little details here and there, and say, okay, I think I know the general vicinity to look into now. So definitely relay all that information to them and let them pick apart through the information that's necessary and not necessary, and decipher what's needed in their discovery and what's not. So for instance, I always do the research before I get to the mechanic. Sometimes I'll even buy the parts myself. We'll do that in a separate video, and I'll come in with the parts and we'll have a cohesive conversation back and forth. And this bleeds into the next step, which is asking the right questions. So you're going to absolutely have to ask the right questions if you want this to go into your knowledge base. Let's call it a little girl toolbox of knowledge for your car, being a car owner. Ask the right questions. If your mechanic's explaining something to you and you don't understand, speak up and ask them, hey, what does that mean? Can you break that down in simpler terms? What exactly does that mean for me? What do I need to do to either prolong my car's life or to avoid that issue from happening? These are the right questions to be asking. And also let them know, I'm looking for a long-term mechanic, so I'm probably going to give you a little bit of business now, but a lot of business later. So that goes into our next step of testing them out. So you can let them know right up the front, you know, I'm just going to test you out. I'm going to go ahead and get the one thing that you say is absolutely needed right now, or, you know, if you don't have the budget, get the cheapest thing that they say you need right now. And that way you can kind of oversee their work ethic. You can build a rapport with them. You can see, okay, did I like how he fixed my car? Did I like how he communicated the process to me? Did I like, and did he get it back to me in a timely manner? Was it worth my money, etc., etc.? Those are all these things that will shape into, is this the right mechanic for me long term? And it's important to have this rapport with your mechanic, because he's going to give you a better deal. He's going to give you a better experience if you guys have this rapport, but it's also going to give you a more sturdy and stable knowledge base, so that when you are at the mechanic shop and you are talking about all these things, that you're able to really decipher what the language is, what the problem is, and in the long term it will all kind of make sense to you, and you'll seem very well-rounded on your specific engine or your transmission or your specific make and model car. So this is why all of these things are really important. Lastly, I would ask them about warranties, and if your mechanic doesn't have any information about independent warranties that they can extend to you or that they can recommend you, you can check out uproar.car and we can give you an instant quote on some great warranties. And if you don't know what a warranty means or what a warranty is, it just means that it's added protection, and typically you can get them right off the lot when you buy your car brand new or you buy your car certified used. But you can also buy extended warranties independent of your dealerships that are a little bit less expensive, and that means that it's less money out of your pocket later. So if something goes haywire or needs fixing, you may have something already in place for that. So that's why warranties are great. And if you guys have any other comments, questions, or requests for me to talk about next, please drop them in the comments. I've had so much fun making this for you guys, and I hope that this was helpful.